Hi guys, thanks again for enrolling on our course on mudcrab vertical farming. So now we're just going to give you a virtual tour of our farm. So we're going to first start off with looking at the box. So right here we have the box that we have been using in our farm. So this is obtained from China. So to maintain a water level, you require what we call an outlet tube that is force fed onto the box. So by having this here, we can maintain an outlet tube as water will flow and fill up the box. So the lid is being sort of placed onto the box using this hole. So you just put in the cover. So and this is how the covers are being fit onto the boxes. So we'll now move into seeing how each of these boxes are held together. So we have our one of my interns over here that's about 5'10". As you can see that he's still comfortably able to work on the third row. But if we were to ask him to try to work with the first row, you can see that it is relatively too high for him. What about working on the bottom row? So you can see that he has to sort of kneel down and squat down to work with the rows at the bottom. So it's important to consider the height that you're working with, especially in a vertical farm. And they will have to consider the ergonomics of when they're going to work. So I'm just going to show you where is the water actually coming from. So this is the overhead piping in which treated water is being recirculated back into the boxes. So the two pipes on the right that you see here is where the water is going into the box. It is being divided over here. So on the fifth column, it has a sort of valve inside that stops the flow from going into the box. So essentially, the pipe on the right control the top 5 row, and the pipe on the left controls the bottom 5 row. So now the pipe that you see in the middle here, which is like a bigger 1-inch pipe, that is the outlet of the water. So the water, after it flows out from the box, it gets collected in this bigger piping and flows through the drain. So each block will have its own dedicated outlet point, and they are all connected to the drain, and they'll flow to the first retention tank. So I'm just going to show you how it looks like when you have crabs inside the box. So notice here there's no water level. So essentially what happens is the crab has actually pushed out the tube that is maintaining the water level. So this is an important point to take note. So this is how, if we have a crab that does not do this, we prefer the outlet tube to be sort of screwed onto the boxes, because the crabs are often very active and they tend to sort of push out this outlet, and which will render your boxes out there's no water level. So in this case, what you see here, there is no water that's even going to the box despite the valve being on. So this sometimes happens if your inlet tubes are too plugged, and that will result in not having waters not being able to go into the box. So what about barricades here? You see that we have barricades here. So this is to prevent crabs that escape from the box, and to prevent them to escaping this enclosure. So this commonly always happen, even if you're farming them in vertical farms as well. So it's important to take note that the crabs, even though they can escape the box, do not escape this enclosure, because what happens is they'll hide below your desk, and when they die, they give out a certain smell. So here we have a cardboard that we often use. If you're farming crabs that are below 50 grams, you have to put this in, because what happens is crabs can escape from this hole and go to their other box, and even escape from this whole vertical farm setup. So that is about the box. Usually this is how we run it. And now I'll take a look at the water treatment system. So this is just a back view on how the water is being distributed into each individual rows. So now we're going to take a detailed look at the water treatment system by first looking where does the outlet water go first. So assuming the water exits the pipe via the outlet tubes, and it goes to what we call the retention tank, and whatever is being flowed to the retention tank will be then flow through what we call the first stage, which is solid removal via this piping. So we'll just follow this pipe all the way into the first pump. So this pipe leads from the first retention tank all the way to the first pump. So this is the inlet of the pump. After entering the inlet of the pump, this is the outlet of the pump. So the pump goes to what we call the 6-way valve that controls the sand filter. So right now it's on what we call filtration mode. You can turn it to backwash the sand filter occasionally on a daily basis. So after filtration, water sort of goes out from the sand filter via this pipe, this white color pipe, and it goes all the way here, and this is the treated water after filtration from the sand filter, and it just travels down this pipe and it goes to the next process, which is biofiltration. So it goes down over here. Alright, it goes down and there's a series of venturies that aerates and circulates the biofilters. So this is the media that we were showing everybody earlier on. Just letting the camera focus onto the biofiltration media. As you can see, they are made out of this black color plastics, and they have a lot of surface area to enable bacterial growth on the system. So this is how we look at the biofiltration. You can see that all of the media are being circulated and aerated at the same time using the outlet water from the biofilters. So in which at the end of the biofiltration, the water sort of flows through a series of bricks and lastly into the last stage before it is being disinfected. So we have a small UV light that we have in the bottom, and it goes to the inlet of another pump, and it goes to the UV filter. So this is the UV tank, UV reactor, and it goes back up to the individual crab houses. So this is how the water is circulated in general. You can look at our process schematics and you can just double check that everything is accordance to our surface layout. So remember that we talked about UV having to have a polished water. So this is what we call a protein schema that we made ourselves. It's used to polish the water just before going to the UV to ensure UV transmittance is high, and you can see that the scum that is produced from the protein schema itself. So what we have here is two dosing tanks. So these dosing tanks are tanks that in which we add chemicals into these tanks, and the chemicals are slowly being dripped into the system. So we want to dose chemical in a gradual basis, and this is how we do it, by putting them in these tanks and slowly let them drip out towards the knife. So that's all for how our plant generally looks like. You can also check out our YouTube and our Facebook page to see for any updates on the plant. So thank you.